Okay, art nerds, we are now on to the second stage of my comic making process. That is roughs. What you guys didn't see is I did a fair amount of digital resizing and correction. So I scanned my thumbnails, which I'll grab for you guys. I scanned my thumbnails. I opened them up in my editing program of choice, which would be Photoshop for me. I followed the notes that you guys saw I'd kind of written on some of the pages. There was a whole lot of like pull out, pull out, pull out, resize, resize, resize. So I definitely did that. I converted my files to grayscale. Then I converted my files to non-photo blue. And I believe I have a tutorial over at natasup.blogspot.com in my intro to Comic Craft series where I show you how to do just that. And I'm pretty sure I have one here on YouTube as well. So I will link both of those. So my next step is to do my borders on my pages. Now I know this is really faint, hard for some of you guys to see. I apologize for that. That's actually on purpose though. It's really light so that I can see it, but when we scan it, we can drop it when scanning. So I have here my handy dandy pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through, I'm going to put borders on these, I'm going to border the panel borders as well and put page numbers. And I'm going to do that for you guys in time lapse. So when you're doing the borders on your thumbnails, it's pretty important to make sure you line your ruler up correctly. I'm not lining it up against the edges of the page, I'm actually lining it up against the printed blue lines. When I scanned my thumbnails, I scanned them a little bit off kilter. I'm also labeling my pages pretty carefully with Naomi bonus chapter, then the page designation, and then all the way over to the right hand side the page number. And I use a triple digit numerical code for that. Not that I've ever really gotten into triple digits, but it really helps with my the way Windows kind of orders files. So when I'm making comics, I generally try to go for very straightforward reading formats. And part of the reason is because I'm making comics for younger readers or for people who are maybe less experienced with reading comics. So I generally try to avoid really elaborate layouts because I want my pages to be easily read. That doesn't mean I don't enjoy elaborate layouts. I am a big fan of elaborate layouts, particularly in other people's webcomics. It's just not something that I use very frequently. Most of what I will use is breaking the panel with an object, like a hand, or in many instances in this chapter with the phone, or maybe breaking the panel with the head. It adds just a little bit of dynamism without necessarily slowing things down too much. And it can also be a really great way to help pull the reader's attention through the page. And it's a little bit harder to see here just because the blue lines are so faint, but I think it'll be more apparent as we work through this series of comic tutorials what I'm talking about. This chapter is a pretty straightforward one. I wanted something fairly simple and refreshing. I know that my watercolor pages can get a little bit heavy-handed sometimes, so this is either going to be in just flat out black and white or in ink wash. I may do a little bit of spot color since I'm paying for color for the book anyway. It's not going to add an additional expense, but I have that's not really a strong possibility. And I promise I will do a tutorial on doing ink wash, or the way I do ink washes for comic pages. So doing the borders first like this, you don't have to do it this way. You don't have to do every single page first. You could do them as you need them. Well, what I like about doing it this way is it makes my pages more portable. So I can bring them with me and work on faces, things like that while I'm out and about. I don't have to have a hard surface and I don't necessarily have to have a ruler. But something I'm going to need to do before I really start diving in on these roughs is I need to do character designs. I need to redesign a couple of things about Naomi for this chapter, one of which is her casual outfit. I have her wearing a dress, but as we proceed in the chapter, there's a series of panels where she's just kind of laying back on the porch, And a dress would really not be appropriate for that, so I'm going to have to switch it over to a shorts outfit. So I need to redesign that. And then I need to work on Michael's character design, as well as the visual shorthand that I want to use when Naomi is telling Kara about her day. I definitely want something that is more simplified, very cartoony, very quick and easy to parse. And that's for two reasons. One, I don't want the readers getting kind of bogged down in her day. And two, it needs to be easy. I want it to be easier for me to draw because I'm going to be drawing a lot of crowd scenes for that part. So having an easier shorthand is going to save me a lot of wear and tear. And with comics, a lot of it is learning what you need to draw out and what you can just imply. So here I'm making a little note for myself. I'm working on the double page spread. And the way I'm doing that is I'm going to attach the two pages to each other. And I'm also making some notes for myself, just some things to think about while I'm working on the art for these pages. And I really love these clear rulers. They're pretty common in Japan. In fact, both of the ones that I have that I really like are, one's from Muji and the other one is from Maido in San Francisco. And I wish more American rulers had were clear acrylic, very sturdily made, had a beveled edge, and also had grit on it. I know that there are quilting rulers that do, but quilting rulers have other I can't remember the word for it. They have other things, tools about them that makes it difficult to use it for comics. So I'm taping the double page spread together here so that I can, when I'm working on the art, I can work on it consistently. And when I paint it, I'm going to paint it consistently. All right, so that's about it. That's Borders. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found my explanations helpful, useful, and informative. And I hope you guys will stay tuned for the next stage of my rough process, which is basically where I cherry pick all the things I really want to draw, and I draw those first, and then I start doing perspective grids. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys are looking forward to volume 2 of 7-inch Kara, because I sure am. You guys are going to hear more about that, loads more about that, as we near the Kickstarter. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you have any questions that weren't covered in this video or in the description. And I will see you guys again really soon. Bye guys!